Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. So for this video here, I'm going to show you how to do a one-point perspective drawing of your name. You're going to have just one vanishing point, and it's going to end up looking a lot more realistic, a lot more three-dimensional. So this is something that you could use in the future if you're trying to create an environment, a place, a location. But this way it's a little bit more interesting if you're just drawing your name here. So we're going to start with the letters of our name, start with some stick letters, and try to turn our letters of our name into something that's more three-dimensional, something that looks a little bit more realistic. So the first thing we need to do is find the vanishing point. So try to find the center of your paper. The length of this piece of paper is 11 inches. And so in order to find the center of this piece of paper, you need to divide the length of the piece of paper by 2. So the length of this piece of paper is 11 inches. Half of 11 inches is 5.5. So go ahead and grab your ruler. Put your ruler towards the top of your piece of paper somewhere and find 5.5 inches. And just make a dot there. And that's going to be our vanishing point. Okay, so what you're going to need to do now is you're going to draw the letters of your name and try to center them here, and try to draw each letter of your name centered in the middle of your piece of paper. So these could be just stick letters. So for my name, it's just M and an R and another R. And what you're going to do is you're going to go around those stick letters. So you're going to start with stick letters, try to center your stick letters somewhere towards the center of your piece of paper, and then go around those stick letters. And you're going to do this a lot neater than I am. So again, you're going around your stick letters. And your original stick letter should be in the center of what you're drawing right now. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that, but with your name on it. So you're going to find the corners or the edges of your letters. So I have a corner here, I have a corner there, and maybe you can make a dot like I am of each corner of your letters. And each of these, those two kind of overlap, but that's the corner of the letter R there. And each of these corners or these edges here on the outside, these outside corners or these outside edges, are going to be connected to this vanishing point here. So there's an outside there. This is on the outside of this letter R, corner of the letter R, and then down there. Maybe even those we don't have to draw. Let's see here. Okay, so you're going to connect each of those corners to that vanishing point that we drew. And so this is the top edge here of this letter R. Maybe we could move this dot here to the top part. And now what you need to do is determine the depth or the distance of these letters. We don't want to go all the way to the vanishing point. We want to challenge ourselves and try to figure out how far would some of these lines go. So let's say that the M would get cut off here. This line that I drew would go across each of these letters here. So if that's where the back of this letter M is going to be, that's where the back of this part of the letter M is going to be, then the R is going to get cut off here too. But there's going to be a curve. There's going to be a curve. So just like the front of our letter R has a curve, the back of this letter is also going to have a curve too that would follow the same direction as the front. Then the back of our letter R would probably get cut off here. So it's like basically what you would do is you could lay your ruler on top of that first line that you drew, and none of these letters could go past that line. So you could lay your ruler on top if that helps. So the top of this, the back end of this R would start right there, and this line would be straight down. So you would have a vertical line for the back of that letter R there, and eventually we'll erase that line there. So then we still have the top curve of this last letter R. And again, just to help you not go past that line, we can place our ruler on top. But again, we also have this curve here, just like we have for the curve of our front letter R. And we could mark this off with a Sharpie. Once we go over it with Sharpie, then we could get rid of these center parts of these original stick letters that we started out with. So let's go over the main parts of these letters with Sharpie, and then we'll erase all the other extra lines that we started out with. So when you're going over this with Sharpie, you're not tracing the original stick letters. You are not tracing the original stick letters. We're tracing just the final product here. Anything that looks three-dimensional. So any of those lines that were connected from those vanishing points, we need to connect those. The only lines you do not need to connect are those original stick letters, and then anything that goes past any of those lines that go past the depth of these letters here. And for the back of this letter M, I would actually draw an additional line that goes for the back of this letter M that goes in the same direction as the front part here. So that line there is the back of my letter M, but because the letter M is angled, I need to draw a line that goes in that same direction. And I also need to add a small little vertical line there that tells me the back side of this letter M. And so now I am tracing the curved part of the R. And again, you want to do this a lot slower than I am. You could maybe trace the top part if you have an R in your name. Right, so now that you have it traced, you go ahead and erase all of these different lines that go towards your vanishing point. So this is what your name should look similar to. You would do this a lot slower, a lot neater than the way that I've drawn it. You could actually even add value to some of these letters. When I say value, that means that some of these parts might have a shadow, some of them might have a highlight, some of them might have a reflective light. You have to determine where your light source is coming from. Maybe my light source is hitting the front of these letters. Then if my light source is hitting the front of these letters, maybe it's not directly hitting the inside of these letters. And so that you would create some of that value, some of that shading inside of these values that make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Right, so again, if you have any of these corners, any of these edges, these outside edges of these letter R's, or these different curved letters, you would actually still connect those to your vanishing point. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.